Welcome back, beautiful peoples, and thank you for joining me for episode 3 of Teachable Moments with Bella Black. That's me. This weekly segment provides a recap of the question of the week post on Instagram on Wednesdays as it relates to the themes of my new book, Inevitable. But before we get into the discussion for this week, people, I have some very fabulous news. In exactly 42 days, June 9th from 7 to 10, Soul Village, my book release party goes down. You have to be in the building. This is going to be an experience that you don't want to miss. Please go to www.inevitablethebook.com to get your tickets today. Hurry up before they sell out. All right, let's get into this week's discussion. On Wednesday, I dropped probably one of the more heavier topics that I've posed during my entire campaign. And I asked, what is your definition of abuse when it comes to relationships? Now, I know that some of you all are probably thinking, well, if he hit me, I'm out. That's the only abuse that I can identify with, or that's the only abuse that I know. But for me, abuse goes much deeper than that. For me, abuse is any time when your partner is knowingly neglecting you, knowingly making you feel bad, and they continue to do so without any change or without any ability to improve. So, several of my followers offered some very in-depth responses regarding this question. And so let's get into the tea. But before I get into the tea, let me take a sip of tea. All right. So something that struck me the most during the conversation on IG is a specific type of abuse that I hadn't really pondered on before I even posed the question. DB the Don mentioned that spiritual abuse is something that's rarely touched on, and he went on to explain that it is when someone knowingly robs or otherwise inhibits your connection to God. Some abusers try to convince their victims that they, in fact, are God as a control mechanism. And that is very powerful. How many people do you know are in relationships where their significant other is trying to play the role of God or has convinced them that they don't need God in their lives when we all know that we do? Ponder on that for a moment before we move on. Moving on, Diane Stiles summed up his feelings on abuse with this: anything that could possibly take away your self-confidence, lower your self-esteem, alter your appearance, or make you feel anything other than happy is a form of abuse. So let's talk about these specific things that both of my followers had to say. So we know that if you are in a relationship with someone that is lowering your self-esteem, if they're not uplifting you, if they're not motivating you, if they are not assisting you in bringing out the best you, your best self, you may need to examine what you tolerate in that relationship. Now, I am not saying that your partner should make you or that your partner is responsible for your happiness, because we know that only you can do those things. But there's a certain aspect that they should bring to the relationship that uplifts you and that makes you understand or help confirm your ability or your value of life, the things that you were put to do in life, and your purpose. So, why do some people feel that it's okay to strip your significant other of happiness when you both agree to be in a relationship together? So that's a constant thing that both of you all should consistently work on together. Now, Kingdom Kid mentioned insecurity being the root of abuse. Got That Unlimited Data and Just J. Nicole blamed the abuse on fear. And DNA 3 Life said that broken people always project their pain onto others. So we know that we've always heard the saying that hurt people hurt people. Do you believe that to be true? Because I do. If you are not happy with yourself and you see someone that's happy with themselves and they're walking into their purpose, despite how difficult it may be, they're still holding their head high. They still know that they were put here and they're going after what it is that they want to do in life. If you're not doing that, or you feel like you don't possess the ability to do that, you may project your negativity onto them. Maybe not purposely, but it may tend to happen. So if you feel like you're in a relationship where that's happening, no, I'm not a relationship expert, but I would, again, suggest that you examine what you tolerate. And if it's to a point where it's just out of control, seek professional help. So how do you identify possible abuse before you become the victim of it? B. Foley said that she's learned that it's worth dating someone a little bit longer to get to know the person on a deeper level, including their personal relationships. Now, everybody desires, well, not everybody, but most people desire to be in a relationship. Most people want a partner, but it's very, very important that you take the time to get to know that person. And you can be with a person for years and still never get to know them, but it beats jumping into a relationship immediately because you feel like this person has come along, they've been placed in my life. As stated on one of my previous episodes, sometimes we see what we want to see. And sometimes you have to open your eyes a little wider and be aware of who the person really is and what they're bringing to the table overall. So that wraps up episode 3 of Teachable Moments with Bella Black. You all know that's me. I hope to join you all next week with more in-depth conversation. I hope you all join me for more in-depth conversation. Be sure you're following me on my social media channels. I am Bella Black. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm waiting to hear from you. Always remember that your test is part of your testimony. Peace.